Welcome to KQEG and Seven Rivers Sports. I'm your host, Terry Erickson. Each week, an inside look into sports, into wellness, into fitness. Today, it's Red Raider softball day on the set with the head coach, Nahmie George, along with Emma Tryggestad and Leah Peterson. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Nahmie George, one of our favorites. Back by popular demand, by the way.
I figured, yeah.
I think you set the record, Coach, by being on here. Like, the show has been airing 8 years, and you've been on 8 times.
I got right? Yeah.
Certainly one of our favorites, no question about it. As we tape the show here on April 12th, sun is shining, finally, but the question is, where has the spring gone? And it must be a little frustrating. We're going to talk about your trip down south, but since you've been back, it must be a little frustrating because you haven't been able to go outside. It's a little deflating. Your true colors have not really shined at all, and you're ready to bust out, aren't you, Coach?
We are, yeah. You know, it's been a month since we started, and have had a lot of indoor practices, and you know, indoor practices are fine once in a while. You can get a lot of stuff done, but at some point you need to get outside and see, you know, live fly balls and practice running the bases on the dirt and sliding. And you know, it's not just us, it's everybody in the area. So, you know, it's not like we're at a disadvantage. Everybody's dealing with the same thing. But yeah, you're right, it is frustrating, and nothing we can do about it.
A lot of people are curious too about how you keep the level of intensity and the attitude, even though you're practicing inside. And so you need to sort of vary things and keep things fresh. How the heck do you do that?
Yeah, well, you know, that's a challenge, and thankfully I got 2 really good assistant coaches with Coach Regner and Coach Hansen that helped me out with that, with their years of experience, telling me, you know, what we can do, maybe working on the same skills but doing them in a different fashion so that we're not doing the same drills every day and not doing the same thing every day. But we spend a lot of time talking to the girls about, even if we're inside, everything we do matters. If we're going to throw, every single throw matters. If we're going to work on our hitting, every swing matters. And so we're trying to maximize what we're doing and the amount of time we have and the amount of space that we have.
Well, as we tape the show again here on April 12th, the Central Red Raiders 1-4. But that's a little misleading because you took a trip, Emma, of a lifetime to Florida. Now, whoa, not many teams get the opportunity to do that. Central's done it the last, occasionally the last few years. Big trip for you. You played well. Right now, as we tape the show, you're leading the team, batting .462. Before we talk about that, share the highlights of your trip to Florida.
Oh, goodness, highlights of the trip. So the most important thing we played there, of course, was softball. We got to go to Disney World, which was kind of cool. But playing softball was probably the biggest thing. Honestly, playing against teams that you've never seen before. And honestly, some of the highlights that we have one of our outfielders, Kaylee Colburn. She had some diving catches that were pretty cool. We had some big hits. She also hit a home run.
Her first home run.
Her first home run, very first.
Yeah.
And I think one of my favorite things, there was a clutch hit that I had, and I think maybe our second or third game that really boosted my confidence because I haven't been hitting well over the last couple years, and it just felt good to know that I could still hit again.
And before we went on the air here today, Coach Nahmie George said that Leah had a good spring trip. Your win was against Marion Central Catholic 9-7, but you had played well in all of those games.
Yeah. Yep, a lot of diving catches, plays, double plays, almost triple plays a couple times.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool.
So you're, and it sounds to me like you are a defensive standout. Although you're leading the team, you're leading the team with 2 RBIs, but your strength is your defense?
Yeah, I would say so. I think I'm a better defender than.
She's a good hitter too, Terry. Don't let her fool you. She's a good hitter. She'll break out here. Just wait.
Right.
So, how would you describe these 2 players? 2 seniors, 2 veteran players. Share your thoughts.
Well, you know, really this year they've been unbelievable leaders for us. You know, you talk about keeping the intensity up, especially when we've been inside and short space and all that. And these 2 are key to that. These 2 hold their teammates accountable. They are making sure that every throw matters. They're making sure that every swing matters. They're coming to me and talking to me if they have any issues or concerns or they have thoughts. You know, I trust these 2. If they think, hey, let's try this, or maybe we could try this, or we were working on first and thirds and trying to figure out different ways we can get people out. And I trust these guys. I take a lot of information from them, and if Trig comes up and says, hey, I'm not sure that's going to work, then we'll look at it and maybe try something different. So really, they're great athletes. They're great kids. They both are very good hitters and both very good defensively, but the value to us is their leadership ability and the way they help me kind of with the group, hold the group accountable.
Well, one thing that I admire about you as a friend too is that you are a player's coach. I mean, it's all about relationship building. It's not autocratic, not dictatorial. You do a nice job with relationship building and giving responsibility to your players. Now, Coach Nahmie George talked about seniors and leaders and so on, and of course being an athlete you're on a platform. Whether you like it or not, you're at a level where a lot of people are looking at you for direction. They're looking at you to be a role model. They're looking to you and they want to be like you someday, these little girls that are coming up in the program. It's not easy. There's drama on the team. How do you develop that leadership personality, Emma?
I'd say just starting off with, or just being as close to everyone as possible, and not being everybody's best friend. That's not what I mean. I just mean starting as just friends with everyone and becoming somebody that they can go to, and building relationships just at a basic level. Not to be over top of them and say, I'm your superior, this is what you're going to do because you're going to listen to me, but just building a relationship with them so that they trust you. So when you say, oh, I think you should do this, they're more willing to say, okay, yeah, I'll try that.
And Leah, too, being a senior, winning a lot of accolades and accomplishments and honors and so on in the past, the spotlight is on you this year, too. And not everybody on the team plays to their potential, and there's drama. And your job as a leader, as a senior, is to elevate people's play.
Right.
How do you do that?
I think just encouraging everybody and having the same confidence I have in myself, in my teammates, and hoping that it will rub off on them and they start being more confident in themselves.
And you're lucky you have players like that, but
I am.
Coach, you develop those players. Leadership is something that coaches certainly can create among key players. Well, second year in the program, took over a highly successful program, and there's no question in my mind, and I'm sure in our viewers, that you were ready for that. Talk about the first year and maybe the changes that you envision for this year.
Yeah, I think the transition for both me and for the girls was relatively easy just because I had been in the program for so long. So I wasn't a brand new guy coming in and trying to establish all new norms. In fact, a lot of the stuff we do is still stuff that was set up by Coach Colburn. And Coach Colburn and I are still in contact with each other pretty much daily, and we still talk about things. In fact, I just went to him the other day and asked him what we should do in certain situations. And so he still has a big impact on the program. And so I think that helps with the transition of bringing in a new guy and trying to do different things. We've changed up a few things, but for the majority, my philosophy was when I took over, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And, Coach Colburn set up a program that really was very, very successful, and my job was kind of to come in and keep guiding it in the right direction. So I think it's been relatively easy.
And of course, you were last year. You were a two-sport head coach, but you decided after having we were on our show many times as the head girls basketball coach. You decided to step down and just focus on one sport. Why was that?
Well, being a head coach is a big responsibility, and it's really become something that's an everyday job. So it's not so much that you coach basketball from November until March and then you coach softball from March until June. It's really, in order to give it its full credit and its full due, and in order to be fair to the girls, you really have to be thinking about that sport 12 months out of the year. So that's part of it. The other part of it was, I got a wife and 3 kids, and that basketball season is long, and those days are tough, and the road trips and getting back at 1 or 2 in the morning and not seeing the family all day, it wears on you after a while. And My wife said I cannot use her as an excuse because she would have been fine to let me keep on coaching. But at some point, I had to look back and say I'm missing some of the years of my kids. And what's really cool this year is Sam, my middle child. He's 7. He's our bat boy now, and so I'm able to still coach, but also spend time with my kid, and that's been really beneficial for me. So
very special. I know family comes first to you. You have a couple really good assistants too, who are friends of mine, Jim Hansen, Mike Ragnar, and I know they have a lot to do with your program, and they have a lot to do with the development of players. And I know you think highly of them, Emma.
I do. I really do. I mean, don't tell him directly, and I'm sure he's going to watch this, but Coach Ragnar, we always, like, secretly we call him Grandpa, because he's always kind of outspoken. He's kind of quiet, but when he has something to say, it's very, he's one of our favorite mentors. He always is very calm in everything he says, and he gives us good advice during games and during practice.
Well, secretly call him Grandpa. You can call me Grandpa. You don't have to be secret about it. You can just say it right on the air, because we have 15 grandchildren. I'm proud of that. But Coach Jim Hansen has a lot to do with the development of you and your teammates.
Well, since we're such a young team and Leah graduating, he's really been pushing our pitchers and making sure that they're throwing strikes, doing their job, and setting us up for the best success this season.
Good, I'm sure he does. And speaking of success, this successful show is built on sponsors. So we're going to take a break for a minute, and when we come back more with Central Red Raider softball right after this.
At Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, we have assembled a championship team
who listens to what your needs are.
We install carrier comfort systems that improve the comfort, efficiency, and the air quality of your home and workplace.
We serve you with highly trained technicians who are prompt, friendly, and honest.
For Gold Star treatment, turn to the experts, Carrier and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, your comfort is our business.
Welcome back to Seven Rivers Sports. Again, spotlight today on Central Red Raiders softball. One of our favorites, been on the show 8 times. Coach Nahmie George, Emma Tryggestad, and next to me, Leah Peterson. Well, you're a coach, but you're a teacher. Teaching first, coaching second.
Yep.
I know you're a well-respected teacher. The intensity that is required for you to be a good teacher. Talk about that.
Yeah, that's my main job. That's what I get paid to do is be a teacher, and so the softball thing is kind of a thing that we do when we have extra time. But really, my main focus is teaching. I have the opportunity to teach in the Health Science Academy through the School District of Crosse. So I have kids from 7 different area high schools. So I have not just Central kids, but I have Logan kids, Aquinas kids, West Salem, Onalaska, Holman, Coulee Christian School. And so we have, I'm working with young people, juniors and seniors, who are interested in becoming future healthcare workers. And so we're trying to get them the skills to someday take care of me and you, Terry, when we need.
Probably me sooner than you.
So.
But I'm trying to delay that a little bit. But well, speaking of classroom, speaking of students, Emma, 2-sport athlete, 4-time athletic winner in both sports, 4-time ready academic letter winner,
Right.
National Honor Society. Whoa! Student first, athlete second.
Yes.
Is that something that your parents expect?
Definitely. They expect me to honestly just have fun, and that's what I do. I go through my classes, but I also have fun in those classes. And there's definitely a lot of late nights, and they're not exactly happy about that because they know that sleep comes well with school and sports. But yeah, they're proud of me no matter what.
But wait till you get to college. As I can reflect back a few decades ago, many college students sleep deprived, getting through some of the tough classes that I had, for example, that required something called no-dose. I don't even know if that's on the market anymore, but help me get through the night.
I have that.
I don't have that.
And Leah Peterson, of course, senior all-academic, 2-sport athlete, all-district, and won letters and in all kinds of accomplishments. But you are a consummate student first, also.
Yes, of course. My parents always taught me how to be that. Same way with my older siblings. I don't shine out academically as much as Trig, but yeah, she always try your best and make sure you're in class on time so you're eligible for sports.
Well, if you're going to go to Winona State or a technical school and your career may be in radiology, it's a pretty difficult
Step up my
area.
game a little bit.
So you're going to need to continue to. Are you pleased with your academic status?
Yeah, I'm pleased with it. I think it can be the slightest bit better. I think I can give a little bit more effort, especially with college. I got to pay for it now. So.
And of course, family, you talked about they expect that, but 3 siblings, mom and dad, they're very supportive too?
Yeah, of course, always. They always have been. Right or wrong, they're going to be there with me. You can count on them.
And Emma, of course, you were on the show not too long ago in hockey, and we talked about the support you have from your family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get a lot of support from both my parents. They both went to college. My dad, maybe not quite as long as my mom, but they know the importance of getting a good education so that I can get on to doing what I want to do with the rest of my life.
Which is?
I'm looking forward. I want to try and start a career in maybe accounting. In the fall, I'm going to UW-Madison. I was accepted direct admission to the School of Business. I'm very excited.
You should be. That's not many people get accepted, so that is highly impressive, and it reinforces the importance of being a student first. And for those watching the show, that to me is impressive. And who's your role model when you think back? Who has inspired you, Emma?
Sure. I remember the last time I was on the show, I talked about my mom, and she's definitely one of my biggest role models. But I also wanted to mention my dad. He's always worked hard. He is a firefighter. He doesn't complain about the stuff that he has to do. Right now, he's kind of doing more of a desk job, but he's working hard to help. Or he's working for the people that are working to help everybody else. He's helping work on contact times between when the firefighters leave the station to when they get to their call. He's working on improving those times and even building a new fire station so that we can improve some of the times to other places.
Some transitional things, obviously, and of course, Leah, family being you've drawn inspiration, but you also have someone else you've drawn inspiration from.
Yeah, one of my old teammates, Megan Kapoff, she's probably one of my biggest sports role models or inspirations. She's always just been so solid and good at what she does, and I was just like, I'm going to be like her one day. And I was like, okay, well, I have big shoes to fill, so I need to be doing extra work on off season. And actually, I'm playing shortstop and wearing her number. So,
in honor of her?
Well, I mean, this is my number too, but she always had the jersey. So,
right.
Good. Advice for young people that someday want to be a Leah Peterson. What would you say?
Work hard and never give up. Just don't let all the negative things get to you. You just got to take it day by day and put your best effort into everything.
Best foot forward every day?
Yep.
I think Emma does that too, and there's a lot of young people that someday would like to be an Emma at Tryggestad. How can they do that?
Just nothing's going to be easy. Nothing's going to be handed to you, so you got to work hard for it each day.
Who's really inspired you, Coach? Because I know you've worked with a lot of people, and I've known you for years and been a good friend. But who really inspired you in the world of teaching and coaching?
Well, I think the ultimate one was Coach Tryggestad over at Central when I was a student. He was who I aspired to be. He had it just looked like when he was teaching and coaching, he was having so much fun, and everybody respected him, and everybody still respects him to this day. And so he would be the person that I would say kind of got me thinking about when I was young what I wanted to do, and I wanted to be Coach D. That's what I wanted to be.
Yeah. Favorite saying that you have, Emma, what would that be? Just kind of defines who you are.
Oh, live every day like it's not going to be live every day like it's going to be your last. Honestly, I always have to go through every day laughing, or else it's not a good day.
So do you display that among students? classmates,
Definitely.
teammates?
Definitely. I try my best to. Like, I remember yesterday, and I know Coach already knew this, but we were kind of messing around with the volleyball in the outfield. It got a little boring at times, and we were trying to get a little fun back into it. But we always stay focused and in between there, and we always work hard, and sometimes it's nice to have a little break.
Start unknown. Is that you?
Yeah, that is me. Start unknown, finish unforgettable. So my grandpa, he would want me to do.
That was his saying?
Yeah, he just, I don't know, he's always like my number one support system. You always hear him yelling in the crowds, Leah, just pitch strikes, just throw the ball, you're just playing catch. And like, now we just laugh about it. Now we just laugh about it, but I know he's just pushing me to be the best I can.
So you got that from him, but so you could, you know, my grandchildren say they can hear me in the stand, so I'm not the only one, and that's encouraging things. And how do you react to that when you hear that?
No, it just brings a smile to my face. It makes me enjoy playing the game even more. Just knowing that he's always there, I can always hear him in my head every play.
How do you want to be remembered? So they mention you, Leah Peterson, 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, and your name comes up. They see your name in the Central Yearbook. What do you want them to say and think?
Well, I just want them, I don't know, I guess I want them to say that, like, acknowledge how, like, good of an athlete I was, but, like, not as a main focus. Obviously athletics is a big part of high school, well, especially for us. And I don't want them to think that I always put athletics first, even though I do stand out more in athletics than school.
Good. And Emma, how would you want to be remembered? How do you want people to, what do you want them to say about Emma Tryggestad?
Probably just that I was always doing the right thing even when nobody was watching. I've always liked to think that I've been known for my integrity and doing the right thing. And I think that's definitely what I want people to remember me for.
Good, good. Well, Coach, as we end the show, again, you're 1-4. You got a long ways ahead. End of the season, May 17th, and then into the postseason. What are we going to see?
I think you'll see, a team prove that this team proved that the 1-4 is pretty, as you said, pretty not indicative of where we're at. We lost 21-0 down in Disney World. We faced the number 1 team in Pennsylvania, and so. And they were pretty good. Having said that, we talked about after that game, we had 5 or 6 errors that game. If we don't have 5 or 6 errors, I felt like, I don't know, they probably felt like it too, I felt like we could play with them even.
Yeah.
And so I don't think we'll be intimidated by anybody. We have work to do, certainly. And we have areas to improve, but I think you'll see a team that gets better as the season goes on, if we can ever get started here. And I think you'll see a team that surprises some people. I know the conference is tough, and I know people are talking about Onalaska and Aquinas and Holman and how great they are, but we talked about yesterday in practice, don't let them forget about Central, because we're going to hang around too.
Well, those that know the history of the Central Red Raiders softball program would agree with that. But it's always a pleasure to have you on the show, and you know that. Coach Nahmie George, Emma Tryggestad, Leah Peterson, have a good season, and thanks for taking the time to be here on Seven Rivers Sports.
And thanks for having us, Terry. Anytime.
We'll be back with some highlights from a recent game right after this.
At Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, we have assembled a championship team.
Who listens to what your needs are.
We install carrier comfort systems that improve the comfort, efficiency, and the air quality of your home and workplace.
We serve you with highly trained technicians who are prompt, friendly, and honest.
For Gold Star treatment, turn to the experts, Carrier and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning. Your comfort is our business.
Welcome back to Seven Rivers Sports. The spotlight this week on La Crosse Central softball, head coach Nahmie George. Lots of talented high school softball players. I encourage you to get to a game sometime in May and watch one of our local teams. Plenty of youth and adult activities as we get into the month of May and throughout the summer months. I'm going to compete this weekend in the Festival 5K. I encourage you to get involved in some of those activities. We continue to broaden our list of guests, as well as topics here on Seven Rivers Sports. If you have a thought, contact us here at the studio. Next week, an interview with 2 iconic officials recently retired, Elwood Hairball and Rod Ostrom. It's going to be a great show. Hope you can join us next week here on 7 Rivers Sports. Well, as always, we appreciate you joining us each and every week. I'm your host, Terry Erickson, hoping you will have an active and a healthy week ahead.